Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's solemn episode. On May 26, 2025, we mourn the loss of extraordinary American legends who passed away in the last 24 hours. Today, we pay heartfelt tribute to their remarkable lives, celebrating their contributions that shaped our world. Join us as we honor their legacies with respect and gratitude. If this resonates with you, please like, support, and subscribe to our channel for more meaningful content. Share your thoughts in the comments below as we remember these iconic figures together. Thank you for being here. Let's begin. Phil Robertson. What makes a man like Phil Robertson a legend to some and a lightning rod to others? From a small-town Louisiana quarterback to the patriarch of a duck hunting empire, his life was a wild ride of faith, controversy, and redemption. Most know him from Duck Dynasty, but there's so much more to his story, tales of struggle, scandals, and secrets that kept the world talking until his final days. Let's dive into the life of a man who never backed down from speaking his truth. Phil Robertson didn't start out chasing fame. Born in 1946 in Vivian, Louisiana, he grew up in a modest family, hunting and fishing to get by. At Louisiana Tech University, he was a talented quarterback, even backing up future NFL star Terry Bradshaw. But sports weren't his calling. After earning a master's in education, Phil taught school and worked as a commercial fisherman, living a quiet life. Those early years shaped a rugged, independent spirit, but trouble was brewing just beneath the surface. By the 1970s, Phil's life was unraveling. He was running a bar, drinking heavily, and his marriage to Kay was on the rocks. Some say he was spiraling, lost in a haze of bad choices. Then came a turning point, a religious awakening that pulled him back from the edge. Phil embraced Christianity, becoming a devout member of the White's Ferry Road Church of Christ. That faith became his anchor, but it also set the stage for controversies that would define him. And what happened next would change his life forever. Frustrated with the duck calls of the time, Phil set out to make one that mimicked a duck's sound perfectly. In 1972, he crafted his first duck commander call, a game changer for hunters. By 1973, he'd patented it and founded Duck Commander, a company that grew from a shed operation to a multi-million-dollar empire. His son Willie took the reins, scaling it into a brand that sold everything from calls to camo gear. Phil's grit and ingenuity turned a simple idea into a legacy, but fame was about to come knocking. When Duck Dynasty hit A&E in 2012, Phil and his bearded clan became household names. The show, blending humor, family values, and hunting, ran for 11 seasons, drawing millions of viewers. Phil's outspoken faith and backwoods wisdom made him the heart of the series. Yet, his unfiltered style often stirred the pot. Fans loved his authenticity, but not everyone was on board with his views. And one interview would soon spark a firestorm that nobody saw coming. In 2013, Phil sat down with GQ magazine and shared his beliefs, calling homosexual behavior sinful. The backlash was swift. A&E suspended him from Duck Dynasty, citing the comments as offensive. But fans rallied, flooding social media with support, and some reports claim the network faced threats of boycotts. 9 days later, A&E reversed the suspension, bringing Phil back. The incident split opinions. Some saw him as a free speech hero, others as a divisive figure. Whatever you think, it showed Phil's knack for sparking debate. But that wasn't the last time he'd make headlines. Phil's life stayed in the spotlight, often for bold choices. He endorsed Ted Cruz and Donald Trump for president, and in 2017, backed Roy Moore in Alabama's Senate race, even speaking on the Ten Commandments' importance in courtrooms. Then, in 2020, a bombshell dropped. Phil learned he had a daughter, Phyllis, from an affair in the 1970s. Rumors swirled about how this revelation rocked the family, with some saying it tested their unity. Phil welcomed Phyllis, but the story fueled endless chatter online. Yet, bigger challenges were on the horizon. In 2024, Phil was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a blow that hit fans hard. Posts on X buzzed with speculation about his health, with some wondering how long he'd been struggling. By May 25, 2025, at age 79, Phil passed away, leaving behind a legacy as complex as the man himself. His family announced a private service and a public celebration of life, but they kept the cause of death quiet, fueling more online talk. His final years were quieter, but his impact never faded. Phil Robertson was more than a reality star or a duck call maker. He was a man who turned a troubled past into a multi-million-dollar empire, faced down controversy with unwavering faith, and left a mark that's still debated today. From his redemption to his scandals, his story challenges us to think about conviction, family, and legacy. What do you make of Phil's journey? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep the conversation going. Ángel Mahler. Can anyone ever match the magic of Ángel Mahler, the man who turned Argentine theater into a global sensation? Born Ángel Jorge Pietito in 1960, this Buenos Aires native didn't just create music, he crafted emotions that gripped millions. From the record-shattering Drømmeslottet, El Musical to his controversial political stint, Mahler's life was a whirlwind of triumphs, scandals, and mysteries. His recent passing in May 2025 left fans reeling, and whispers of unfinished works still linger. Let's dive into the story of a composer who made hearts race and stages soar, a tale that's as dramatic as his music. Mahler's story starts in the bustling streets of Buenos Aires, where he was born into a modest family. As a young man, he wasn't dreaming of spotlights. He was working in a piano store, tinkering with keys and chords. But in 1983, fate struck. Playwright Pepe Cibrián spotted his talent and pulled him into the world of theater to arrange music for Caligula. It was a bold leap for a guy with no formal stage experience, and he even tried to cement his passion by legally changing his name to Mahler, a nod to the legendary composer Gustav Mahler. The court shot it down, saying it stretched the law too far, but Ángel kept the pseudonym anyway. That scrappy determination defined him, a dreamer who carved his own path. And what happened next would change Argentine theater forever. Enter Drømmeslottet, El Musical, the show that became a cultural juggernaut. Launched in 1991 at Buenos Aires Luna Park Stadium, it wasn't just a musical, it was a phenomenon. Over 3 million people flocked to see it, drawn by Mahler's haunting melodies and Cibrián's gripping story. The production ran for 6 seasons at Luna Park, 3 at Teatro Opera, and even hit stages in Chile, Spain, Brazil, and Uruguay. Critics raved, showering Mahler with awards like the Ace and Hugo for Best Music. Fans couldn't get enough of its raw emotion, a testament to Mahler's knack for weaving heartbreak and hope into every note. But this was only the beginning of his reign. The Cibrián-Mahler duo didn't stop at Drømmeslottet. They became Argentina's musical theater powerhouse, churning out over 20 shows that packed Buenos Aires theaters. Hits like El Jorobado de París, Las Mil y Una Noches, and Robin Hood showcased Mahler's versatility, blending tango, classical, and pop into unforgettable scores. Each musical felt fresh, never recycling the same tired formulas. Mahler's music won him a shelf full of awards, Estrella de Mar, Municipal de Buenos Aires, and an Ace Mention of Honor for his career. Together, he and Cibrián turned Buenos Aires into a musical mecca, their names synonymous with sold-out shows and standing ovations. But there was more to Mahler than just the stage. Beyond theater, Mahler's music painted vivid pictures of the world. His orchestral work, a tribute to the victims of the 1994 Armia bombing, is a gut-wrenching 7-movement piece that channels grief and hope. He also composed Symphony of the End of the World, capturing the wild beauty of Patagonia's glaciers, and a piece celebrating the Iguazu Falls, each movement evoking a different cascade. Mahler once said, "All my music has one goal, to cause emotion." Whether it was the raw pain of loss or the awe of nature, his compositions hit hard. He even dipped into film scores and TV, working on projects like Otra Historia de Amor and El Mundo de Antonio Gasalla. But just when his career seemed unstoppable, a new chapter sparked heated debates. In 2016, Mahler took a sharp turn into politics, becoming Buenos Aires Minister of Culture. For some, it was a natural move. a creative genius shaping the city's artistic future. But others weren't so sure. Reports surfaced of tensions over funding cuts to cultural programs, and some fans felt betrayed, whispering that Mahler was too cozy with certain political figures. These sentiments, shared across forums and social media, painted a complex picture of a man whose passion for art clashed with the messy world of politics. He stepped down in 2017, leaving behind a year of controversy that still divides fans. And what happened next would shock everyone. Mahler's final years were shrouded in mystery. By 2024, fans noticed he was stepping back from public life, sparking rumors about his health. Some whispered he was battling a serious illness, though no official word came until May 25, 2025, when news broke that Mahler had passed away at 65 after a fight with cancer. Tributes poured in, with Pepe Cibrián sharing a heartfelt farewell, calling him a brother in art. Posts on X buzzed with unverified claims that Mahler was working on a final musical, supposedly inspired by Argentine history, but no concrete details emerged. These rumors, while unconfirmed, fueled speculation about what could have been his next masterpiece. Was he racing against time to leave one last mark? We may never know. What we do know is Mahler's legacy is unshakable. His music didn't just entertain, it transformed Argentine theater, giving it a voice that echoed worldwide. From Dracula's haunting chords to the sweeping grandeur of his symphonies, he made audiences feel every note. His awards, his sold-out shows, and his fearless leap into politics show a man who lived boldly, even if it stirred controversy. Rumors of that unfinished musical linger, leaving fans wondering what stories he still had to tell. His work with Cibrián set a standard that's hard to top, and his orchestral pieces remind us of music's power to heal and inspire. But there's one question that hangs in the air. Could anyone else ever capture hearts the way Mahler did? Ángel Mahler's life was a symphony of highs and lows, from a piano store to packed stadiums, from standing ovations to political firestorms. His music made millions feel alive, and his passing left a void that's hard to fill. As we reflect on his journey, one thing's clear: his melodies will echo for generations. What's your favorite Mahler moment? Drop it in the comments and let's keep his legacy alive. Monna Tandberg. What does it take to become a legend in Norway's theatre world, only to leave behind whispers of untold stories? Monna Tandberg, who passed away in May 2025 at 85, wasn't just an actress. She was a force who captivated audiences for decades, from intense Ibsen plays to beloved children's TV. But behind her poised performances, there's a life filled with passion, mystery, and maybe a few secrets she never shared. Let's dive into the story of Monna Tandberg, a woman whose talent and private nature kept us all guessing until the very end. Born in Oslo in 1939, Monna grew up surrounded by art and intellect. Her father, a respected physician, and her mother, a gifted painter, gave her a childhood steeped in creativity. It's no surprise she found her way to the stage, but what's wild is how fast she made her mark. At just 21, she stepped onto the National Theatre stage in 1960 for her debut in a lively play called Det smeller I Doreen. Critics noticed her instantly. She had this spark, a way of commanding attention without trying too hard. From there, she didn't just climb the ladder, she practically leaped to the top, joining Fjernsynsstedet and later Det Norske Teatret. But something bigger was waiting for her, and it wasn't long before she found it. Monna wasn't just an actress, she became Norway's go-to interpreter of Henrik Ibsen's fierce, complicated women. Picture this, a young Monna in 1961, playing Nora in a doll's house at Det Norske Teatret. She didn't just act the part, she became Nora, bringing raw emotion to a character torn between duty and freedom. Fans and critics couldn't get enough. Over the years, she tackled roles in Hedda Gabler and Antigone, proving she could handle the heavy stuff with grace. Her performances weren't just shows, they were events that left audiences buzzing. And yet, there's a whisper that her intense roles took a toll, more on that later. While theatre was her heart, Monna wasn't confined to the stage. She stole the show on screen too, especially as Queen Fjellrose in July I Blafjul and July Par Manitoppen. If you grew up in Norway, you probably remember her as the regal yet warm queen who made Christmas specials magical. Kids loved her, but she wasn't just for kids. She popped up in films like Bryllupsfesten as Charlotte Home, bringing sharp wit to a chaotic wedding story, and Drømmeslottet as Fru Hald, where her quiet intensity stood out. These roles showed she could do it all: big drama, light comedy, and everything in between. But what was it like juggling these worlds? Some say the pressure was intense, and we'll get to that soon. Now, let's talk about her personal life, because it's where things get juicy. Monna was married to not one but two major figures in Norwegian arts, director Per Bronken and later Arild Brinkmann, both heavyweights in theatre and TV. These weren't just marriages, they were partnerships that shaped her career. Working with directors who knew her so well must have been a dream, but rumors suggest it wasn't always smooth sailing. Some speculated that her husband's influence gave her an edge in casting, while others thought it added pressure to prove herself. Then, in 1993, she started a long-term relationship with actor Lars Andreas Larsson. They never married, but their bond lasted decades. Fans have wondered, did these high-profile romances boost her career or make it harder to stay in the spotlight? The truth might be a bit of both, but Monna kept those details locked away. Speaking of pressure, let's dive into what it was really like for Monna behind the scenes. For over 40 years, she was a fixture at National Theatre, playing more than 60 roles. That's a grueling schedule: rehearsals, performances, and the emotional weight of characters like Antigone or Hedda Gabler. Some reports claim the theatre world in Norway could be cutthroat, with actors vying for top roles and directors playing favourites. While there's no hard evidence Monna faced major drama, it's been said that her private nature hid struggles from the public eye. Balancing fame, family, and a demanding career couldn't have been easy, especially with her high-profile relationships. And what happened next would shock everyone. Even as she aged, Monna stayed fiercely dedicated to her craft, never slowing down. Her talent didn't go unnoticed. In 2007, Monna was named a Knight, First Class of the Order of St. Olav, one of Norway's highest honours. 2 years later, she snagged the Gamleng Award, cementing her as a national treasure. These awards weren't just for show. They recognized a woman who poured her soul into every role, from Ibsen's heroines to quirky TV characters. But here's the thing: Monna didn't chase fame. She let her work speak for itself, which only made fans more curious about her life offstage. What was she like when the curtains closed? That question kept people talking, and it's still sparking buzz today. Fast forward to May 2025, when the news hit: Monna Tandberg passed away at 85 after a short illness. The announcement came out of nowhere, leaving fans and colleagues stunned. Just days before, some say she was still her vibrant self, meeting with friends and seeming healthy. Posts on X called her death unexpected, sparking speculation about what really happened. Was her illness more serious than anyone knew? Out of respect, we won't dig into graphic details, but it's been said she faced her final days with the same quiet strength she brought to her roles. Her family confirmed the news to outlets like NRK and VG, but they kept things private, just as Monna always did. And that wasn't the whole story. Her passing reignited interest in her legacy, with fans digging into her life like never before. So, what's the real legacy of Monna Tandberg? She wasn't just an actress. She was a trailblazer who brought Norway's stories to life, from Ibsen's stages to children's TV screens. Her private nature only made her more intriguing, leaving us to wonder about the challenges she faced and the stories she never told. Did the weight of her roles or her high-profile romances shape her in ways we'll never know? One thing's clear: Monna's work will live on, inspiring actors and audiences alike. Next time you watch July I Blafjul or hear about a classic Ibsen play, think of her, a woman who gave everything to her craft and left us wanting more. What do you think Monna's greatest role was? Drop it in the comments, and let's keep her memory alive.